Greetings. This is your OG anime fan Nathan for No More Popcorn, here to hijack the channel for a bit and talk about an anime. Today the anime is known as Overlord. Overlord is a very exciting and unique kind of concept, a twist on the tried and true virtual world MMO kind of thing where you get trapped inside and oh no, you might die. This concept goes way back to one of my favorite books, known as Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. Read it if you haven't. You might learn something. Ha ha ha! Anyway, Overlord is a lot of fun because it flips your usual anime story on its head and it makes the main character the villain. It starts off in an MMO known as Yggdrasil that is 12 years old and ready to shut down because all the cool kids have gone on to other cool MMOs. But one faithful servant of this virtual world, Momonga, has decided to stay till the very last minute, the very last second, as the clock strikes 12 and the servers go offline. He is a part of a guild known as Eins Ul Gaun, and he is the last member. He is part of the Tomb of Nazareth, a tomb that they built, he and his friends of the guild, and they populated it with badass NPCs. And they are, in a sense, a dungeon for other heroes to invade, with 9 levels, with Eins Ul Gaun at the very top. I say Eins Ul Gaun because Momonga later on changes his name when he finds out that the dungeon does not go away. Yggdrasil does not go offline at 12, but he goes to a different place. All the NPCs in the dungeon suddenly become like real people. They have pulses, they have personalities, they speak and their lips move, they have conversations with him. So Momonga begins to experiment and explore the new world he is in. He sends out his NPCs, now his servants, to explore the world. He takes on the new name, Eins Ul Gaun. And the NPCs worship him as God. He begins to explore and he learns things about this new world. His magic still exists. His extraordinary magical powers still exist. He is of a godlike level. His magical items still work. But he can no longer call up console commands. He cannot contact the outside world. It is very strange to him. He does not know what to make of it. Back in the real world, he is nothing but a slave to the system, a sad office worker with no friends and no family. So he decides to stay in this world and become an overlord. Interesting thing about this is his character, Momonga, now known as Eins Ul Gaun, was not a human. He was a undead lord, a lich. He begins to find in this world he no longer has normal human emotions. When he begins to become too happy or too sad or too angry or horny, his emotions are suppressed. He no longer gets hungry. He no longer sleeps. So this raises the question: is he somehow completely transported? His soul is now in this other world? Does he even have a body? Is this his body, this skeletal form he has inhabited in Yggdrasil? Or is his body now decaying on Earth, hopefully to be found and hooked up to machines and life support while he lives on in this world? These are questions we do not know. We do not have the answers to these questions. One strange thing is, once he gets in this world, he doesn't really seem to care. Ainz really just goes along and he starts to explore the world. He wants to see if there are any other players from Yggdrasil in it, and he wants to search and find the connections between this new world and the old, because this one seems completely real, not like a game as Yggdrasil was. But over time, interesting things begin to happen. We see that Ainz is now more influenced by his undead persona than his old self. And we see over time he seems to take on the persona as an evil overlord. He loses his sense of humanity over time, just a little bit at a time. He does not care when humans die. He even kills some himself. And he sends his NPCs who worship him as a god out into the world to do his nefarious deeds in his quest for global domination. One complaint I have about this story is that sometimes it gets bogged down in the lives of the people in the world. Like, I do not care so much about these lizard people. Who cares about the lives of lizard people? Ah! Who cares, really? I don't care if this lizard man falls in love with this lizard woman. I really don't care. But episode after episode, we have to watch these lizards live and prepare for battle to be invaded by Ainz Ungaun. But I suppose that is the point. The show wants you to see that these are all very good people. The world is filled with good people living good lives. Many of them are adventurers, much like you would see in such an MMORPG, but they are like real people. And you come to like them, just to see them murdered by Ainz Ungaun. I find it quite funny and entertaining. There are only currently 3 seasons, and I guess that's because the original author, whose name I cannot remember, is still working on the original story. They say season 4 may be out by 2020 or 2021. He is hoping, because I enjoyed it quite a bit. Now, no more popcorn to get back to its more usual programming, and I will crawl down to the deep depths within Nathan's psyche, where I shall dwell until another anime, new or old, strikes my fancy.